Imagine waking up every morning excited to go to work, not because of a paycheck, not because of a promotion, but because you're part of something bigger than yourself. Now, imagine an entire organization filled with people who feel the same way. That's the power of a mission-driven organization. But here's the challenge. Most companies start with a purpose, a grand vision, a why. Yet over time, they drift. They focus on profits over purpose, efficiency over impact, and before they know it, they've lost what made them special in the first place. So how do we not only start with why, but also stay with why? Let's dive in. Every organization knows what they do. It's the products they sell, the services they offer, the solutions they provide. Some organizations even know how they do it. Maybe they have a unique process, a proprietary method, or a competitive advantage that sets them apart. But very few organizations take the time to truly understand why they do what they do. The why is not about making money. Profit is simply a result. The why is the reason an organization exists beyond financial success. It's the belief, the cause, the higher purpose that drives everything. It's the thing that inspires people to show up early, stay late, and pour their hearts into something greater than themselves. It's what makes employees feel like contributors, not just workers. It's what makes customers feel like partners, not just buyers. Companies that lead with why create a gravitational pull. They attract people who believe what they believe. Customers don't just buy from them because they have the best product. They buy because they feel a connection. Employees don't just work for them because of a salary. They work because they feel they are part of something meaningful. But when organizations fail to define their why, they rely on external motivators, discounts, promotions, or perks to drive behavior. These tactics might work in the short term, but they don't inspire loyalty. People might buy once, but they won't stay. Employees might clock in and out, but they won't care. Without a clear why, a company is just another option in a crowded marketplace, another name on a list of competitors, easily replaceable and easily forgotten. When a company starts with why, it creates a movement, not just a business. It fosters trust, builds a tribe, and ignites passion in both employees and customers. The what and how may evolve, but the why remains the unwavering anchor that keeps the organization aligned and resilient, even in times of change. In business, success is often measured by numbers: quarterly profits, market share, revenue growth, and stock prices. These figures dominate boardroom discussions, shape investor confidence, and dictate strategic decisions. Metrics are tangible, easy to track, and provide a clear sense of progress. They are important. But they are not the purpose. An organization's mission, its why, is not something that can be captured in a spreadsheet. It's not something that can be distilled into a performance dashboard or a bar graph. A mission is the heartbeat of an organization. It is the driving force behind every decision, every product, every service, and every interaction. It is what gives meaning to the numbers in the first place. The moment a company prioritizes metrics over its mission, it begins to drift. It starts making decisions based on short-term gains rather than long-term impact. It chases trends instead of staying true to its beliefs. It cuts corners in the name of efficiency, compromises values for the sake of margins, and sacrifices the very essence of what made it special in the first place. Think about the companies that once stood for something greater, brands that people loved, admired, and followed with enthusiasm. At their peak, they weren't just selling products, they were leading a movement. Customers didn't just buy from them, they believed in them. Employees didn't just work for them, they were proud to be part of something bigger than themselves. But then something happened. Somewhere along the way, the mission took a backseat to the numbers. Decisions started being made with the bottom line in mind rather than the guiding principle that had once defined them. The focus shifted from creating impact to maximizing efficiency, from building relationships to increasing transactions. And the result? People noticed. Customers started to feel like numbers rather than valued members of a shared vision. Employees lost their sense of purpose, and what was once an inspiring workplace became just another job. It's not that metrics are inherently bad. They serve a purpose. They provide clarity, help set benchmarks, and create accountability, but they should never be the reason an organization exists. When an organization remains mission-driven, the numbers tend to take care of themselves. A mission-driven organization operates differently. It makes decisions based on values rather than just projections. It prioritizes long-term trust over short-term returns. It measures success not only in financial terms, but in the lives it touches, the change it creates, and the legacy it builds. It understands that while numbers fluctuate, a strong mission endures. Metrics matter: revenue, profit margins, market share, and growth rates. These are the numbers organizations track to measure success. But the problem with metrics is that they are lagging indicators. They tell us what has already happened, not what will happen next. They show us the results, but they don't explain the reason behind them. And when organizations focus solely on the numbers, they risk losing sight of the deeper purpose that made them successful in the first place. A mission-driven organization operates differently. Instead of chasing numbers, it uses them as tools to support its greater purpose. It understands that revenue is important, but it is not the reason the organization exists. Profit is necessary, but it is not the goal. Growth is essential, but only if it aligns with the core mission. Companies that prioritize mission over metrics recognize that financial success is a byproduct of staying true to their purpose, not the purpose itself. The problem with a metric-first approach is that it can lead to short-term decision-making. Companies that obsess over quarterly earnings often sacrifice long-term sustainability for immediate gains. They cut corners, reduce costs in ways that hurt employee morale, and prioritize shareholders over stakeholders. They focus on what can be measured today rather than what will create value tomorrow. And in doing so, they begin to drift away from their original purpose. Think about the organizations that once stood for something, but later lost their way. They started with a powerful vision, a mission that inspired people, a cause that set them apart. But over time, as they scaled, they became more focused on meeting financial targets than fulfilling their mission. The emphasis shifted from creating impact to increasing efficiency, from serving people to satisfying investors. And as the mission took a backseat to the metrics, the organization slowly became just another business competing on price, convenience, or market dominance. When companies put their mission first, they build something more meaningful than just a profitable enterprise. They create organizations that employees are proud to work for, customers are eager to support, and communities are better because of. They make decisions based on what is right, not just what is profitable. They invest in their people, even when it doesn't show immediate returns. They innovate in ways that align with their purpose, rather than simply responding to market trends. They resist the pressure to take shortcuts because they understand that staying true to their mission is the only way to build something that lasts. Leaders in mission-driven organizations don't ignore the numbers, but they refuse to let them dictate every decision. They use data to inform, not to define. They recognize that metrics can guide strategy, but they should never replace purpose. They celebrate financial success, but they measure true success by the impact they create, the trust they build, and the legacy they leave behind. They know that an organization without a strong mission is like a ship without a compass, adrift, directionless, and vulnerable to the shifting tides of the marketplace. They commit to reinforcing the mission every day, in every decision, in every conversation, ensuring that the organization never loses sight of why it exists in the first place. Every organization starts with a purpose, a grand vision, a belief that drives its existence. In the beginning, it's clear, it's exciting, the founding team is passionate, the early employees are deeply connected to the mission, and the culture is built around a shared sense of purpose. The why is alive, guiding decisions and shaping behaviors. But then growth happens. The team expands, new markets open, investors come in, and external pressures begin to mount. The challenge is no longer about defining the why, it's about staying true to it. Staying aligned with why is not a passive process. It requires relentless commitment, constant reinforcement, and difficult choices. The natural tendency of any growing organization is to drift. As new opportunities arise, the temptation to chase trends, maximize efficiency, and optimize for short-term gains can be overwhelming. Leadership faces pressure to scale, to meet financial targets, and to satisfy stakeholders. Slowly, sometimes without even realizing it, decisions begin to prioritize convenience over conviction. A partnership is formed that doesn't quite align with the company's values. A hiring decision is made based on experience rather than cultural fit. A product is launched not because it serves the mission, but because the market demands it. And before anyone notices, the organization is no longer the same. Drift doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually in small, seemingly insignificant choices that, over time, pull the company away from its core. What was once a clear mission starts to feel like just another corporate slogan. Employees who once felt deeply connected to the why now feel like cogs in a machine. Customers who were once loyal advocates start to sense a shift, a subtle change in how the company operates. Trust erodes, engagement declines, and soon the organization finds itself in a place it never intended to be. Alignment requires more than just words. A mission statement on a website, a set of company values framed on the wall, these mean nothing if they are not actively lived and reinforced. The most aligned organizations build their why into every aspect of their operations. It's embedded in how they hire, how they lead, how they make decisions. They use it as a filter, a lens through which every opportunity is evaluated. When faced with choices, they don't ask, will this increase revenue first? They ask, does this align with who we are? If the answer is no, they have the discipline to walk away, no matter how lucrative the opportunity may seem. Leadership plays a critical role in maintaining alignment. Leaders are the keepers of the why, the ones who set the tone and ensure that purpose remains the driving force behind every decision. But leadership is not just about words. It's about actions. Employees watch what leaders do more than they listen to what they say. If leadership compromises on values for the sake of short-term gain, the entire organization follows suit. If leadership fails to consistently reinforce why, people stop believing in it. And when people stop believing, the mission fades into the background, replaced by an organization that looks no different than any other. Culture is another critical factor in staying aligned. A strong culture doesn't happen by accident. It is built intentionally and protected fiercely. It requires hiring people who don't just have the right skills, but who believe in the mission. It requires holding people accountable, not just for performance, but for behaviors that reflect the organization's values. It requires celebrating the right things, not just hitting sales targets, but making decisions that uphold the why. It requires creating an environment where employees don't just understand the mission, but feel deeply connected to it, where they don't just follow orders, but feel ownership over the impact they create. The challenge of staying aligned is not a one-time battle. It is an ongoing process. Organizations must continuously reaffirm their purpose, revisit their core beliefs, and check themselves for signs of drift. It is easy to assume that because the mission was clear at the beginning, it will remain so forever. But clarity fades if it is not actively maintained. The organizations that remain truly mission-driven are the ones that understand that alignment is not something you achieve once, it's something you fight for every single day. Leadership is not about authority. It's not about titles, positions, or power. True leadership is about service, about stewardship, and above all, about staying committed to the why. Organizations don't lose their way because of external forces. They don't fail because of market shifts, economic downturns, or new competitors. They fail when their leaders lose sight of the reason they exist. The moment a leader starts making decisions based on what is easy rather than what is right, what is profitable rather than what is meaningful, the organization begins to drift. The most successful leaders understand that their primary responsibility is not just to manage people, oversee operations, or maximize returns. It is to protect and reinforce the why that inspired the organization in the first place. The challenge is that commitment to the why is not always the easy path. There will always be pressure from shareholders demanding higher returns, pressure from markets shifting toward short-term gains, pressure from competitors, tempting the organization to compromise its values in the name of convenience or efficiency. But true leaders resist this temptation. They understand that a company's mission is fragile, that the why is easily lost when it is not actively reinforced every single day. Commitment to the why is not just about words, it's about actions. It's about making decisions that align with values even when they are unpopular. It's about standing firm when external pressures push for compromise. It's about setting an example not just by what leaders say, but by what they do. Employees don't follow job descriptions, they follow behaviors. They don't trust words on a mission statement, they trust the actions of their leaders. A leader who claims to prioritize purpose, but consistently makes decisions that contradict it will quickly lose the trust of their team. And once trust is lost, it is nearly impossible to rebuild. Leaders who are committed to the why understand that culture is not built overnight. It is shaped over time, through every small decision, every policy, every interaction. It is built through the way leaders respond to challenges, how they treat their employees, how they engage with customers, and how they navigate difficult situations. The most powerful organizations are those where leaders don't just talk about purpose, but live it in every aspect of their work. Commitment to the why also requires resilience. There will be times when sticking to the mission feels like an uphill battle. There will be moments when the path of least resistance seems tempting. When budgets are tight, when competitors cut costs in ways that undermine quality, when markets shift toward unsustainable business practices, leaders will be tested. The easy way out will always be available. But leaders who truly believe in their why will hold firm. They will remind themselves and their teams why they started in the first place. They will recognize that short-term sacrifices are often necessary to preserve long-term purpose. They will understand that their role is not just to manage the organization, but to protect its soul. A leader's commitment to the why is what inspires those around them. People want to follow leaders who believe in something bigger than themselves. They want to work for organizations that stand for something meaningful. They want to feel that their efforts contribute to a cause, not just a company. And they look to their leaders to set that example. If a leader is unwavering in their commitment to the why, their people will be too. If a leader holds themselves accountable to the mission, their teams will follow suit. If a leader prioritizes purpose over convenience, they create an environment where trust, motivation, and loyalty thrive. The reality is, organizations do not stay mission-driven by accident. It takes leadership. It takes constant reinforcement. It takes leaders who are willing to stand up and say, "This is what we believe and we will not compromise." It takes leaders who understand that commitment to the why is not a one-time declaration, but an ongoing responsibility, one that requires courage, discipline, and an unwavering sense of purpose. An organization's success is not determined by its products, its profits, or its position in the market. It is determined by its ability to stay true to its why. Metrics will fluctuate, markets will shift, and challenges will arise, but a clear and unwavering mission is what keeps an organization resilient and inspiring. When leaders prioritize purpose over convenience, when culture reinforces the why every day, and when decisions align with core beliefs, the result is more than just a thriving business. It's a lasting movement that people believe in, commit to, and champion.